Hi, welcome to the first interview with my good friend Elizabeth Taylor. I'm very excited to just talk with her today, and you get to hear her story. So welcome. This is Start Feeling Awesome, and that's really our whole hope and heart, is that we just have a passion to help people feel better, start feeling good in their bodies, minds, and souls. So please, I was going to say welcome, but you're on the other side of the camera.
No one can welcome me. That's okay.
Elizabeth Taylor.
Thank you.
Yes. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. We have our coffee.
Yes,
so
we do.
We're good to go.
Yeah, and that's always a debatable topic right there.
Yes, right there. Right.
How many doctors have told you not to drink coffee?
A lot.
I know, mine too.
They haven't told me specifically, but in the diets that I've done, they say not to do coffee for one reason or another. The acidity,
I think
the seed. I think so too. I like coffee better than I like chocolate.
Oh, I might be with you there.
I talked to someone about this the other day. That's the reason I work at a coffee shop right now. Is because I love coffee. So I'm not sure I can quit it anytime soon. What about you?
I keep breaking up with it, and then we just keep getting back together. More than coffee, I'd love to hear your heart. I would love to hear your story. So take me back a little bit to just tell them a little bit about you and your even that point of diagnosis and what that was like for you.
Yep. So I got married really young, at 19.
Wow.
And
you're still married.
And I'm still married, 16 years.
Nicely
next
done.
month.
Nicely done.
So got married at 19 and I was 22 when I had our first. And that's significant for MS because a lot of times people get diagnosed with MS after they have their first child for some reason.
Oh, wow. Like the pregnancy triggers off?
Yes.
Multiple sclerosis. How do you say it? Sclerosis?
Multiple sclerosis,
okay.
Yeah. It's an autoimmune disease like all the other stuff, so it's like sets off the autoimmune issue for some reason. So I had our first baby in 2005, and I think he was about a year old. It was 2006 when I noticed I had some numbness in my stomach, and I thought it was from my epidural I had the year before.
Oh, wow.
So I just kind of, on the side of my stomach.
Like you couldn't feel the skin there?
It was like numb.
Okay.
Like, I could feel a little bit, but overall it was numb. I didn't know what in the world to think about that.
Were you still digesting? It just was more on the outside?
It was more paralysis, you could say.
Interesting.
Things like that, just externally. Yeah. So I ignored that, but then the same year, 2006, I started losing my eyesight in my left eye to the point of, towards the end of it, like almost all of my eyesight in my left eye was gone completely. We were talking to Bill Scott about this the other day.
Yes.
About blindness being a part of MS, and it's just tough. So during that time, I went to an eye doctor and I decided to get it checked out. And he sent me to a brain surgeon, which was kind of intimidating feeling. And I remember being
at 22 or 23,
yes, I was 22.
Neurosurgeon or just a neurologist or something?
She was just like a brain surgeon, but I guess you'd have to be sort of neuro. They didn't use that term, but it probably was.
Right.
And so I remember calling my mom that afternoon and asking her, makes me emotional still to think about it, because I will never forget the conversation we had. I said, will you guys promise to always support me if I ever get really sick? Because at that point I thought I had a brain tumor.
Oh, wow.
I was really scared.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was dealing with. So I'm trying to think how long later. It was probably just within the next week or so, I get a phone call from that brain surgeon, and I don't recommend this to anyone because this was not a great way they dealt with it, but they said over the phone they thought I had MS.
Wow. And they actually told you over the phone.
It was a bad idea, because what do?
You freak out.
What does anybody do? They freak out and they Google it.
Google it. Of course.
Yes.
I'm actually very surprised, and I think that's from years ago, because I've noticed nowadays they don't give you that kind of stuff.
No.
In fact, it's like pulling teeth just to get your test
to get a diagnosis. Now they run a series of tests,
right?
And even then they're scared to put a diagnosis on it.
Okay, so back then there wasn't as many tests for it to diagnose it.
I don't know if it was God's grace on my life to hurry and give me some sort of like diagnosis on it or some sort of sense of what I was dealing with, but I was scared to death, Rachel, because I got on the internet and all I was seeing was people that were in wheelchairs, and that's where they wound up. So I went to a pretty heavy depression during that time, without even knowing, without talking to neurologists or knowing for sure, just hearing the preliminary
results of the test.
that was enough for me to feel like, okay, they're probably right, and we're probably heading in that direction. And I sort of carried the label already before I ever got the true diagnosis. So it wasn't until, I'm trying to think how this all panned out.
Is MS in your family at all? Does anybody else in your...
No, not MS.
Okay.
There's other autoimmune issues with certain family members, aunts, great aunts, things like that.
But nobody, like your mom or dad, nobody in that.
Nobody, not even my identical twin sister.
Oh, wow. I didn't know you had a twin.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, little known fact.
Okay.
Yes, so I have a twin sister, and she's doing great.
Yeah, she's healthy.
Yeah,
good.
Which makes me very happy.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, though. If you think about all that relation and all the...
Right, all the genetic material that's
components
sort of,
that she probably carry a lot of the same of as me.
Wow.
Yeah, so...
Has she had kids?
2 now.
2 kids.
Yeah, she's had 2 kids. So there's more to that story, though, because...
Okay.
I'll share more later, but I had vaccines that she did not have.
Oh, interesting.
Very interesting. So more on that later, but something to think about.
Yeah, it's so controversial.
It is.
Isn't it?
Very controversial.
It's very polarizing. So we'll leave that off the table for now. But
that's right.
But
there could be something to
that. Could be an interesting part of the story.
It could have triggered something in me.
Absolutely.
Personally. So
we're also individual.
That's the thing.
I feel like right now medicine is starting to get what they call bio-individuality, where they go, oh, you're different, and so maybe it's not one size fits all for everybody. And I think that's a really good approach, because too many times we go, you know, this is happening with you, so this happens with everybody, or
because you have to know your body. I worked at a healthcare facility, so we'd have to get Hep B shots and flu shots, and trying to think if we had to get other shots.
I had all that too. Yes, because I went going through nursing school in order to work at a hospital and do clinical rounds. We had to have just all of our stuff.
And I noticed I would be laid out on the couch for 3 days after I had the Hep B shot. So because of my body personally, it was having some sort of impact on me. So it's very, you can't say from one person to another how it's going to impact them, and nor would I be opposed to it necessarily. All I know is I can speak for myself. How they've impacted my body at times.
Sure.
So it could depend on your health as well. So it's just interesting. There's a lot of components that go into it.
I definitely agree with you there. Okay, so
back
continue
to the
on.
Story. So within the next year, it was so blurry to me during that time. I don't even remember dates. I just know they put me in with a neurologist in Colorado Springs, where we were living at the time, and not a great bedside manner, had a very poor experience, but she had me, I think I'd already done MRIs from the brain surgeon, they had me go and get brain MRIs. And spinal MRIs.
To see exactly the clusters that were going on.
See the scars that were there, which is what sclerosis is.
Scarring?
Multiple sclerosis means multiple scars.
Oh, wow.
Basically, that's all that means. So
okay, all right.
It's really not that fancy.
And they don't know why you all of a sudden start getting scarring in the brain.
No, what they say for MS is that when you have a flare-up, so to speak, there's a lot of words that people will use for flare-ups, but I'll just use that one to put it simply. You are accumulating scarring on your brain or your spinal cord during that time, which is why flare-ups, you don't want to leave them alone and leave them unattended.
Okay. When you get flared, you want to get out of a flare as soon as possible.
Yes.
Okay.
And most of the time, people will go and do an IV of steroids because it shuts down your immune system temporarily and restarts it. It's a very dreadful process for me. It's anybody who's been around me knows that I don't respond well to the steroids at all. I have a lot of poor responses. But that's the quickest way to get out of a flare-up. But yeah, that's what's happening is you're accumulating scarring on your brain and your spinal cord. And so they were able to detect that on the MRIs.
Okay.
And
it still seems to me that there's some kind of immune component, because you don't get scars anywhere in your body. Like I don't get a scar on my arm for no reason. Like it's a response to something. And so something's triggering it off to tell. Because scarring is actually, most of the time, it's good. Right? Like if you get a scab, something like that, you need, your immune system and your body is healing itself.
That's so true.
So it's an interesting thing that there's just, like, no cause or no reason scarring. It's like we haven't quite found the root of it.
Right.
So you get diagnosed pretty young after you've had your first baby. You go into this depression.
Right.
What is... I think probably the most helpful thing for our folks here listening would be, what are the things that have helped you improve? Like, so you said when you get those flare-ups.
Right.
What has helped you? What's kept those flare-ups to a minimum?
Yeah.
What's helped you take those flare-ups down a notch?
Right.
Is there, including faith stuff too? It can be,
right.
Things that you tell yourself in your mind, or so tell us a little bit about what's worked and what's helped for you.
That's actually a huge part of it. Is I pretty much had to do a whole lifestyle reset.
Wow.
Overhaul.
Okay, what's that look like for you?
So before all of this, I would say I was very emotionally unhealthy.
Pretty. I disagree with that.
Thank you. You're very sweet. I was very emotionally unhealthy. I carried too much. I carried others' burdens, and I carried my own.
Okay, I'm going to push you a little bit on this.
Yeah.
Give us an example, or what do you mean
Sure.
by that? Like codependency?
Definitely codependency, yeah.
And for some that may not know that term too, I didn't even know that a few years ago. But so what would that look like?
So for me, it was my
example.
relationships with others were very conditional, and I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it, but they were just kind of sort of at odds, and so I just carried like a guilt, resentment. I felt like I was never doing enough, but I also felt like they were never doing enough. And everything was just really, I don't know, just really stifled and just very, and I grew up in an environment like that where authenticity wasn't valued, and I wasn't able to be honest with my feelings growing up, and so that carried on into adulthood where I wasn't honest with myself. With myself and to others. Okay. And so when you're not being honest with yourself, if anyone knows me, that's one of the things I value the most. Okay. Is being honest and being real. And you won't very often catch me being anything but. Okay.
That's one reason I like you. Yeah. I think. See,
I can't help it. It's because I've come so far from how I originally was. That's all I can be now.
Do you think you were like kind of emotionally hiding?
Oh, definitely.
And stuffing?
Yeah, and I didn't even have much of an identity. I didn't really know who I was. So, man, when those things are just piled on top of each other, you have a mountain of problems.
Stress. Yeah, it's adding.
And guess what your body does? Your body carries that. And the more I learn about stress, the more I learn that contributes very much so to our disease and our illness when we're in a stressed environment. So
I have noticed... I hate that I've noticed this, but I have definitely noticed the same thing with Lyme disease.
Yes.
That when I'm in a point of stressful situation, it flares up my body in the same way.
Mine too.
My flare looks different than yours. Right. But I start to just I get symptoms back that I haven't had in a while, and it's like, oh, what's going on? And I have to check in and go, you are stressed out, girl, Yeah. And so I've noticed that same thing. Yeah. So you found that dealing with some of those emotional friendships, social things that were adding stress to you.
Yeah, my own marriage was stressful at that time. We were newly married. We were both young. We didn't
and this is a very stressful situation. I mean, having a big diagnosis like this is not an easy thing.
Our marriage was on the rocks at that point too. He didn't even go with me to the neurologist. He wasn't even there the day that the neurologist officially said that I had MS. A friend went with me, and I remember being heartbroken that he didn't even go with me to find out. But that showed where we were. My whole life was on the rocks at that point, pretty much.
I think sometimes it's not actually that our spouses or the people that are close to us don't love us. It's actually they just can't deal with that level of pain.
Right, because they carry it for themselves and they feel our pain.
Right.
And my husband's always been really good at saying, what's yours is mine. He's like, if you have pain, I have pain too. So I'm glad you said that because I do believe that.
I think it's just a little bit of like checking out because it's too heavy, it's too much.
I think so too.
And no, I'm not going to stereotype, but I think that guys can sometimes have a hard time doing that because they do separate. They're better at compartmentalizing.
Yes.
And so they can have like the health box and the whatever, but when it gets too painful, then they just kind of move into another box because this is safer and happier.
I know.
And
totally. That
so
makes sense.
I think for me that helps me frame it, or it helps me give even my husband more the benefit of the doubt with things like, no, he really loves me. He just doesn't quite know how to maybe handle the depth of that.
They don't know what to do with
pain
that
or ache.
Right. Yeah. This is heavy.
Yeah.
Getting a diagnosis is not. Any of you watching this probably know it's not something that goes away next week or next year.
Right.
Unless God does a miracle, it's the rest of your life. That's really daunting. Even people that deal with cancer, they're constantly working to get rid of it, and there could be another side where they reach the other side for them, where they're
pushes
healed.
into remission,
Right?
And they have this. It's not always this. Well, you're going to have this lifelong,
like an ongoing battle, like ours is.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know you and I, we really push back against that. This is going to be lifelong.
I believe. Right.
I think if you believe that it's lifelong long enough, you'll just live your life as if it is.
Right.
And I don't know. I personally believe, that God is a God of miracles.
I believe so too.
Still willing to do those today.
Yes.
I know you and I both.
We both believe
we press
that.
into that, pray a lot for each other and for our own, illness things. That God would just come in and heal it.
That there would be another side for us too.
Or give us wisdom.
There is
to lead us to a different doctor or a different method of healing. Okay, so emotional things.
Yeah.
What else? What are some of the maybe some medical things that you go, this has really helped. I didn't think it would.
The first thing I did was I began to change my diet, and so I got off of gluten. This is back in 2007 because I got diagnosed in 2007.
I want to say that's when some of the gluten-free stuff started coming out, right?
It was very new.
Yeah.
On the horizon.
But there were at least a few bricks of bread you could buy that were gluten-free. They were like 5 pounds.
I remember eating those too. I can't remember the brand, but I remember them.
Yeah.
They were so disgusting.
They were so bad. Yeah.
I didn't know how in the world I was going to do all this, but I did start working with a natural, I was going to say naturopath, but it wasn't. I think it was just a natural doctor. He may have been an ND as well.
Okay.
Up in Denver, Colorado at that time. And
so that's where you lived, right?
I lived in Colorado then.
Okay.
And so I began to work to change my diet, and it was so hard back then, especially when I understand for any of you working to change your diet right now, it is absolutely daunting when you've never been down that road before.
Where do you start?
And I respect it very much for those of you who feel like it's hard. I know it's hard in the beginning. That's why it's miraculous that we've come as far as we have and know as much as we do, because
I love me some pizza.
I know.
There's all kinds of things I can list.
Me too.
When I eat them over and over, I mean, every once in a while I cheat, but if I stay there,
it's not good.
It's just I look at it now and I literally say this to myself: don't eat pain. I'll stare at it, I'm like that donut. That's pain. Don't eat pain.
Yeah. And for me, yours is pain. You get physical pain.
Right.
Mine is lack of ability to walk after a while. So I tell myself I would rather be able to walk than I would to have this pizza or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so I think some of this is just changing your priorities and learning to prioritize in your mind, what do I really want? And it requires you to be visionary as well. You're not looking at in the moment with that pizza. You're looking at, even a month down the road. Right.
Okay.
You're thinking, what do I really want for my life? Do I really want that pizza right now, or do I want to be able to walk in a month, or
do I want to be able to walk
2 years?
into my kids' recital, or go to their baseball game, or you're thinking. I think women especially think family. If you have kids, it's a bigger deal than just yourself. You're making decisions that are going to affect and have consequences for your kids and your husband and all that.
I've experienced it all firsthand too, because to continue my story, I got diagnosed in 2007.
Yes.
And then it continued on. I had a really severe episode in 2009 where my daughter was born in 2008, so I lost the use of my legs and they're completely paralyzed in 2009.
Wow.
We were trying to move from one house to another. I could just shuffle my feet along. Couldn't really pick them up because I didn't really have a lot of feeling, and they were just really thick and
was this
numb.
Do you think again because of
what
pregnancy?
Because I gave birth. Yeah.
Wow.
It's like you go into remission when you're pregnant.
Okay.
And then you go into full-on relapse after you have your baby.
Wow.
So after I had my son, actually, when I was meeting with the doctor during my diagnosis, she recommended that we not have any more kids. And I was devastated. We had one child, and I'm growing up in a family of 8 kids. I'm like, I don't know about this.
You're one of 8?
One of 8 kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Learning all these great things.
7 girls and 1 boy.
So you're used to big family. How many kids were you thinking that you wanted to have when you first?
I don't remember ever necessarily planning, but one just sounded like a real bummer. I'd like to have one more than one child. And so
that's funny. I have a dog, so yeah.
God really put in my heart, and I remember telling my husband, I really want to have one more.
Okay.
And then just like that, we conceived, and then I had my precious daughter, which her middle name is Elizabeth, and so she's a special They're both so special, but she's a special little girl. Like something about having another baby after your diagnosis, when you were told not to, and you still did it, and God still came through for you and gave you the grace that you needed to have that baby. Sometimes you have to do what the doctors don't necessarily recommend you
absolutely.
do. I think there's something to be said about that.
I smile and nod at the physician,
yes.
and then I go out the door and go, yeah, no. You know,
it's true.
I mean, sometimes you just have to take it with a grain of salt.
You do.
I don't believe that all doctors are good doctors.
Right.
I don't believe all doctors are bad doctors either. I think sometimes they do the best with what they know how to do.
They're human, doing their best.
Just like, you know, there's people that work and they're good at what they do, and you know, in every area or every occupation, I think physicians are just human beings, and they're in the same boat. You know, some of them are really, really, really good to figure out things, and others
I think so too, because I think in one hand I have what the doctors say, and the other hand I have what I feel like God is speaking to me, and what my heart is speaking to me. If you don't believe in God, then you will feel something in your heart sometimes where you feel like you're led to go a certain direction.
With that gut instinct.
That gut instinct. So you gotta reconcile those a lot of times and figure out, do I really, just because my doctor told me that, is this really the medicine I need to take? Because they wanted to put me on some really dangerous drugs. I was this close last summer to taking a drug that the test they were doing for me, and the heart test they were doing, and the eye test, I'm like, this is too scary. I cannot get on this medication, so I decided not to. But once again, that was my gut instinct. I just had this feeling like, this is a bad idea for me. It's not where I need to go. So you'll definitely have that. But for me, going back to the episodes I had, so I had several now for the last, I guess it's 2018, so it's been almost 10 years. I've had a series of episodes, 2009 and then 2012, or no, I was good till 2013. So I kind of didn't think about MS very much between 2010, I would say, once I came out of my bad relapse.
Okay, you kind of went into like a little bit of a remission for those years.
I did. It was
it anything that you were doing, or was it just
That's a great question.
You just had a let up? Because sometimes
I just
that happens.
had a let up.
I have no idea how to explain
I'd really like to have another one where I didn't have to work so hard for it, because I don't know why I had this let up, but I'm really thankful I did. I didn't even talk about MS very much during this time for like a 3-year period.
Okay.
It wasn't anything I really identified with, because I kind of set it aside, because I'd only been diagnosed for 3 years at that time, and I just was like, you know what? I didn't even think about it much till I had a horrible flare-up in 2013, and that one hit my right arm.
Oh, wow. Was that when you moved to here? Because you live now in Nashville area.
We didn't move down to Tennessee, Nashville area, until 2015.
Okay. I was curious if there was like you know how moving is stressful, all that can trigger, or just changing environments, changing allergens.
That's a great question.
Like that.
There had to be some underlying component to that. I'm not sure what it was, honestly.
Can even be some, you know, family dynamics too, or things, but...
And my doctors have noticed I always, if I have issues, I tend to have them in February.
Really?
So, yes. And that's when I'm at my worst. So you better believe last month, this is March.
Yeah.
Last month I was like,
are you good?
Being very careful. I am good.
Careful. Okay.
I was struggling a little bit. My legs were struggling a little bit.
Okay.
But I feel like I'm starting to rebound a bit.
Yeah.
But every year, if I've had an issue, it's been February. There's something.
My little head goes, I wonder if it's like all the Christmas eating.
I wonder that too. It was too much sugar.
All that
overloading my
system.
Right,
Thanksgiving. It's like there's no hope from like November to the end of the year, right? It's like party after party.
And you're not getting fresh air. You're not getting the sunshine, which I've been learning how important that is to have the sunshine.
Sure.
Little things like that have got to make a big difference. So I need to explore that a little bit more, because there's something to that.
Yeah, it might
be fascinating.
I want to circle back here for a second.
Sure.
Did you change things like your toothpaste, deodorant, things like that at all? That when you said you overhauled your lifestyle, did you do any of that, or have you?
Not in 2007, because that wasn't even a thing back then, really.
Sure.
It was super basic.
Yeah.
I've used that word lately. It was super basic back then, basically just getting off of gluten.
Okay.
I think I may have gotten off of dairy at that time, because we all know dairy is amazing. Dairy's hard to break up with, too. Dairy is delicious. Cheese is delicious.
Dairy is almost up there with coffee, and I do know that dairy flares me up, but...
we won't talk about what
let's not.
I have almond milk creamer, so.
I have
heavy
whipping cream. Organic. And
Own it.
Delicious.
I bet it's delicious. I'm kind of jealous.